Hey everybody, this is Monica Guzman coming to you live on this wonderful Friday morning to continue talking about the differences between American baseball culture and MLB culture. And yesterday, you had the opportunity to see me realize that 3,000 strikeouts is the new steroids, hit as many home runs as possible. And I wish I had had a more dramatic reaction to it so that I could post it online. Clip it, post it online. Nonetheless, I will we'll kind of go from there, but my conclusion for sure is that 3,000 strikeouts is the new compiling. And as you can see from my opening screen today, this is why. I didn't grab the headline, but this is LA Times. It might be Mike DiGiovanna again. Let's go ahead and start here at the beginning. So Gerrit Cole was with the Pittsburgh Pirates for a while, right? And then in true MLB style, they made a big to-do about Gerrit Cole signing with the Yankees. And you know what? MLB has the right to sell their narratives, to engineer, what they consider to be greatness. They have the right to do that. So I'm not criticizing that at all. But where I draw the line is when MLB tries to tell me that Gerrit Cole is great while trying to stomp on Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson, Cy Young. You don't get to erase true greatness and call your engineered version great. Gerrit Cole is just another engineered bot. I don't know if he's a nice guy or not. Based on this headline, fired Angels employee names Gerrit Cole, Justin Verlander, others, he says used his illegal product. Now, again, I'm no Mother Teresa. I'm not here to save the world. I personally don't believe you can save the world. I actually favor nurturing males with alpha potential over their weak counterparts. So right now on Twitter, there is a video of some dude shaming. I haven't watched the video in its entirety. Hang on, I just need to make sure this is recording correctly. I don't know why it's not popping up over here, but okay. So there's a video going around right now at a retail store. Some weirdo is following a woman around the store. He's vaccinated. I don't understand how he knows that she's not vaccinated. Like, obviously it depends on where the video was taken, right? If you live in a city or a state where there's a mandate that you have to wear masks indoors regardless of your vaccination status, then how does he know that she's not vaccinated? So nonetheless, this is a weirdo. And so what's happening in America is the alpha has been desecrated on television, in movies, in sports. The alpha's the bad guy, right? Your Prince Charming, who is going to give you a wonderful life. Yeah, you're going to be a housewife, and yes, you're going to bear the children. Yes, you're expected to keep your home dust free. You are expected to cook the meals because Prince Charming is out bringing home the bacon. I want to add, okay, so I'm going on a tangent on the tangent, but it's a funny story. I think hopefully my delivery's on point. I don't think I've told this one yet, and it all works into it because from my perspective, from my point of view, Garrett Cole is just an engineered bot. I think he's more nerdy than alpha. And it has nothing to do with the way he is at the podium when he speaks. It has nothing to do with his demeanor. It's just the fact that Garrett Cole isn't a baseball player. He's absolutely an MLB player, but he's not a baseball player. He would not have survived Ty Cobb. Like, that's how I judge a lot of them. It's like, could they have survived Ty Cobb? Not Garrett Cole. No way. Ty Cobb would have been mean to Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole probably would have cried. So, okay, so I've had my share of political involvement, and one time I went to it was some sort of gathering. It was some sort of gathering. It was official. Like, we were all in our business attire and stuff like that, you know. But I don't remember if it was like, it wasn't the convention. It was something else. But it must have been some sort of monthly luncheon. And one of the speakers, he was African, but he was like hardcore. And he was he was into hunting games somehow. And he told us the story of him and his wife. They went on some sort of hunting trip. Nothing serious, not like an expedition to Africa or anything like that. Somewhere in the United States where you can rent a log cabin and hunt for the weekend or hunt for the week. And he captured something edible, like, I don't know if it was deer, some sort of game, right? I don't think it was a bear, but it was some sort of edible game, right? And so he brings it to the cabin, and she looks at him like, what's going on with that? And she basically was like, I'm not touching that. And he's like, well, if you want to eat, you're going to skin it. And I mean, she must have been like city girl, right? Like, I'm a total city girl. I'm doing my best to wean myself off of modern conveniences. Like, again, television, we don't watch television on a regular basis. We haven't watched television on a regular basis in years. And part of it is because I was streaming television. It was far more convenient in my case to stream stuff than to turn on the television and flip through channels and all that stuff, right? And so this woman is like, he told her, if you don't skin this stuff, if you don't skin this, you're not eating. Whoa, this is several years ago. I was way younger, and I was like, whoa. So that scared me off a little bit, off country men. Again, because I'm a city girl. I watched my grandma several years ago, and my mom, because we used to travel to Mexico, because that's where all of my grandparents were, and it must have been some sort of it wasn't like a birthday or anything. It was some sort of celebration for something. And I don't know if the menfolk caught, not a pig, a boar, the bigger one. Oh, I don't know if they bought it. Like if my dad and his brothers all chipped in and they bought it. I'm not sure, but it was whole and it was huge. And my grandma took the lead to cut up that sucker. And the tradition is when you hunt or in Mexico, every part of the animal is used. Nothing goes to waste. So I remember grandma and mom cleaning the intestines, because the intestines become chicharrones, right? And I was not forced to participate because my parents are among the Mexican parents who say they went to the United States to give their children a better life. And in my case, my parents never demanded domestic chores from me because I showed an aptitude at school. So they had me focus on school 100%, and it's not their fault. And I can't blame my parents for anything. My parents did everything that they could to give us the best, and they did. I am very lucky that my parents are my parents. And but the right thing would have been to have me participate in dismantling the pig in Mexico. I should have been taught those skills. I should have picked them up. And so, but it is what it is, right? And so I remember that experience of my grandma dismantling that pig. It was a feast. It was a feast. It was a pig-filled feast. And then there's the story of the man who told his wife, if you don't skin that thing, you're not eating. So I think if he had to skin it, he would have ate, and she would not have received any in the partaking because she didn't contribute her part, right? The men folk hunt and gather, the women folk prepare it, right? That's the tradition. America was built on that. So were several other countries. There's nothing wrong with that. So coming back to all this, what I want to do is interject Mad Bum into this, because we all know that Mad Bum is country strong. I can't remember all the details, but there is such a cool article, and it is on MLB.com. It's an older article at this point, but Mad Bum grew up in a city that his dad founded, much the way that Cap Anson grew up in a city that his dad founded. So Mad Bum grew up in, is it North Carolina? Somewhere over there, right? And the Bumgardner family essentially founded this small, tiny town. I believe it finally got incorporated several years ago, but they founded it. And so Mad Bum is country strong. Now, I'm not 100% sure if the Bumgardner family is ranching or farming, but I imagine Mad Bum's wife is a total country badass too, and respect to her, because I don't know if I could go that far. I would definitely try, but I don't think I could go that far. So Mad Bum's wife, she's a total badass, and I don't know if she's made Mad Bum a dad yet, but when she does give birth to his children, obviously for me, I always hope that men are blessed with at least one son, and Mad Bum would have some pretty cool sons. You've got to do it. If you're not a dad yet, Mad Bum, you've got to do it, man. You're gonna have some pretty cool kids. So coming back to the original topics. So this week I've been focusing on, let's show that screen. Let's take the heat off of Gerrit Cole for a moment. Let's go here. So this week I've been focused on the all-time professional baseball top 20 leaders in categories that count. And I look at production categories. It matters what the pitcher on the mound is doing. None of this analytics nonsense that, as one infamous analytic advocate stated, he can manipulate the data to get the result that he wants. So, whomever are their pets, I don't want to give those guys shout outs because I want to wait till I can tear apart the narrative to give them their full attention that they deserve. But the analytics crowd can make MLB engineered ball look the way that they want by inserting and removing elements from their formulas. And so that's why batting average matters. That's why hits, RBIs, ribbies, whether or not they strike out, the number of bats that they receive matters. And again, when it was American baseball, should we look at Babe Ruth one more time? Let's look at Babe Ruth. Okay, so the first year, or the year that Babe Ruth received the MVP award, was the first year that the New York Yankees won their championship. So Babe Ruth put the Yankees on the map. Okay, it took him for the fourth season. They won it on his fourth season, but nonetheless, Babe Ruth was contributing the entire time, and they were winning. His second season with the New York Yankees, what is that? 93 wins, and then followed by 94, 98, I believe, wins. So Babe Ruth put the New York Yankees on the map. And how did he do it? Okay, yeah, sure. He did it, hitting the home run. He was also driving in runs. So in 2021, your home run hitters have like 1 point. So if they hit 10 home runs, they have 15 RBIs, right? So a multiplier of 1.5. For the RBI category, that's stupid. That's fucking nonsense. Look at what Babe Ruth did. Am I right there? So when he hit 25 home runs, I can't see it on my end. I apologize for that. So for example, when Babe Ruth hit, that's with Boston. So when Babe Ruth hit 54 home runs, he drove in 137 runs. So 137 ribbies, right? Babe Ruth was never in the 1.5 multiplier. And I apologize if I'm not using the right vocabulary, but what I'm trying to say is that, and I believe that's the case with Mike Trout, he has like a 1.5 multiplier, or 1.5, I'm not sure how to state it, but if he hits 10 home runs, he ends up with 15 RBIs. That's because the bulk of his home runs are solo home runs, right? So I don't think Babe Ruth was simply hitting solo home runs. It looks like he was hitting home runs with runners on base, and that matters. I don't give a shit. Like, you can try to counter argue this stuff with nerd analytics nonsense. I know that there are MLB nerds out there right now working on their arguments, and I'm not criticizing your right to counter argue. I'm just saying that you're not going to win. I'm very set up in a manner where you can counter argue, but you're not going to win. And the reason for that is simply that American baseball had one culture and MLB has a different culture. It all boils down to culture. American baseball was run by Americans, MLB is run by Jews, and they prop up Africans, they prop up the Dominicans because Dominicans have 90% descendancy from Africans. I still don't understand the thing with the Venezuelans, but there's got to be something there. And so I did that because I'm not sure. Do you guys want to see my ears? Do you want to see my ears? I don't know. I'm still getting used to this on-camera stuff. I'm not that generation. And I mean, I totally think I'm awesome, but I'm not like a super narcissist though. So, Babe Ruth hit home runs, but he also drove in many, many runners, and he always had a high batting average. And so these statistics matter. In MLB nerd world, I understand that they don't matter, but that's just like your nerd culture, right? I'm sitting at the grown-up table. Different culture. So we're cool. We're just not going to hang out. That's all. So today, again, I wish I had had a more dramatic reaction, but 3,000 strikeouts is the new steroids. Hit as many home runs as you can for pitchers. Let's look at that. Where do I have that? I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a little embarrassing. There's a funny meme out there that it happened to all of us, right? When we were in school, you're sitting in class and your stomach decides it's going to sing you their song of their people. I love it. It's hilarious. It's like your stomach decides I'm going to sing you the song of my people. And again, I have to figure out my routine. So most strikeouts, you can see that Nolan Ryan ended up with the most strikeouts. And I believe it's 5,017-14 with 5,386 innings pitched. And that's very, very impressive. But again, I'm not sure if Nolan Ryan's also a champion. And that, to me, that matters. Because Babe Ruth did all these wonderful things and he's a champion. So that matters to me. Randy Johnson, 4,875 with 4,135.1 innings pitched. And to me, Randy Johnson is the real deal. What he did with Arizona was pretty amazing. So I always run the risk of being on the side of MLB players who are actually narratives, the ones that are still alive. I fully understand that Randy Johnson could have been a narrative too, but the fact that he's white and American precludes him from that. Because Randy Johnson, again, when I started watching Arizona games because I wanted to watch Greinke pitch, Randy Johnson was total get off my lawn with Arizona's broadcasters, and so that leads me to believe that Randy Johnson is cool. Mad Bum could very well be an engineered narrative, but again, I don't believe that because of his country strong background. So I believe that Randy Johnson's the real deal. And then you've got Steve Carlton, Don Sutton, and then you've got Walter Johnson. But then you see Pedro Martinez, Bob Gibson, CC Sabathia, Verlander, and then I left Scherzer off because at that time he wasn't in the top 20 for strikeouts. When I put this together, he wasn't there yet. And I did add Zach Greinke because I think Zach Greinke is legit. I don't think he's engineered. If anything, they're studying Zach Greinke. They're studying Zach Greinke the way science studied Babe Ruth. They're trying to figure out Zach Greinke's computer for a brain, right? Because we love Zach Greinke. We do. I do. I think he's awesome. I really enjoyed him as a Dodger. And then afterwards, as a Diamondback and as a part of Houston's team, he's just Zach Greinke, and he's awesome. So the lore of like Bob Gibson, that's not someone's career that I've explored in detail, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find that he's just another narrative. Obviously Pedro. So Pedro pitched 2,827.1 innings. Bob Gibson pitched 3,884.1. Sabathia 3,577.1. And then, Verlander's still going, Greinke's still going, Scherzer's still going. So I put these together because I needed to see the data. I needed to see if I'm right or wrong. I always have to be prepared to be wrong. So I put these columns together because I was trying to figure out, okay, why did the writers pick those specific players in the first Hall of Fame class? And I found out that because they're in the top 20 of several categories, that in statistics that matter. And I'm looking at production. I don't give a rat's ass about analytics. I don't give a rat's ass about formulas that you can massage to give you the result that you want. Cy Young completed 749 games. You can't fudge that. Walter Johnson pitched 5,941.1 innings. You can't fudge that. Babe Ruth hit 714 home runs. You can't fudge that. You can't fudge it. Analytics formulas, you can fudge them to give you the result that you want. You can massage the data. You can insert and remove elements to give you the result that you want. They want. Infamous analytics advocate said so several years ago during the off season when they do like their top 10 list or whatever. He said it. So whatever. So here's a reminder of the other categories in pitching top 20. You can see that ERA is golden. Who's in there? Oh, Mariano Rivera. But he barely pitched more innings than Babe Ruth. So no, Mariano Rivera might be a wonderful religious man, does a lot of great things for his people, for his country, for society, but did he merit a unanimous entry into the Hall of Fame? No, he did not. He only pitched, where are you, Mariano? 1,280. I can't, that's small over here. 1,283.2 innings. That's it. That's all he did. And he came away with an ERA of 2.2 2021, whereas Babe Ruth pitched 1,219.7 innings, came away with a ERA of 2.28 plus the home runs, the ribbies, the batting average. So yeah, no. Mariano Rivera did not deserve a unanimous entry into the Hall of Fame. Neither did Derek Jeter. Neither does anything that comes after moving forward. It's just the MLB standard, which is far, far different from American baseball. So, Gerrit Cole, that's just the picture that the LA Times used. You know, it's not me trying to target Gerrit Cole on purpose. It's just, this is the headline for this article. And the fired employee is Bubba Harkins, who was a part of the Angels organization for several years. Apparently, he sold sticky stuff to several pitchers in the American League, including Gerrit Cole, Justin Verlander, and then you've got Felix Hernandez. And then from the NL, you've got Adam Wainwright, Corey Kluber has always been the AL, right? Max Scherzer was AL. And then you've got MLB crackdown on foreign substances could revive Bubba Harkins' case, his attorney says. But I think here, Harkins' issue is that he was fired for selling the stuff. It has nothing to do with, the guys that he mentioned didn't actually use this stuff. I haven't seen anything refuting that specific claim. I believe these cases are just Harkins trying to salvage his name. So we'll see how that goes. This is all I found as far as follow-up. So 3,000 strikeouts is the new steroids, hit as many home runs for batters, on the batting side for pitchers. And I'm right. And again, I shock myself that I knew they're compiling. I know all MLB players are compiling in 2021. I did not realize that I would stumble upon such solid proof. Wow. It blows my mind. It really does. And I didn't set out to target specific players. It just happened that way. So, why is Gerrit Cole the main subject of this article from the player side? Well, because there's a text message from Cole to Harkins, January 17, 2019, asking him for the stuff. That's why Gerrit Cole is such a prominent part of this article. And then the other thing is because Gerrit Cole garnered that contract from the Yankees. Now, I believe that a team can place any value they want on a player. So the fact that the Yankees, the Steinbrenner Yankees, who had at least 26 steroid users go through their organization by 2008, the organization, because there's two parts of the Yankees organization. There is the Steinbrenner era, and then there's the era that came before them, which established 20 of the championships, which was intelligent enough to go for Babe Ruth, who put them on the map. Lots of differences between the Steinbrenner Yankees and then the previous the Yankees under the previous ownerships. And so am I shocked that the Yankees put such a high price tag, sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze, on Gerrit Cole? No, I'm not. But that doesn't mean that that's Gerrit Cole's value to the Steinbrenner Yankees. That's definitely not the way I see Gerrit Cole. I think Greinke deserves that kind of contract. I think Mad Bum deserves that kind of contract. I wouldn't have given that to Cole, especially because he's engineered. And now we know that he's a cheater. So, you know, that this is the pitcher version of steroids. The sticky stuff is the pitcher version of steroids for batters. Yes, some pitchers use steroids, but this in 2021 is it's the new steroids era in MLB. And I want to point out that this stuff happens in MLB. When it was happening in American baseball, they cleaned it up. Shoeless Joe Jackson, Manfred still won't let him into the hall or an opportunity to enter the hall. What's the difference between Shoeless Joe Jackson and Steroids Barry Bonds? Well, Bonds is African, and the Jewish population residing on American soil is very much into the Africans. So, what up, racist? And so, you know, I want to point out the Jews were the ones that brought the term racist to American soil, right? And that's why they tell you that there's no such thing as reverse racism. The Jews don't want you to use their term against them. And I'm going to talk more about some stuff related to that in future streams. Maybe I'll do some October streams. It's just, again, I don't want to put myself in a position to what's it called? I don't want to put myself in a position to respond or to give MLB anything that they need to pivot their narratives during the postseason. I want to see it unfold as is, without interruption, without influence from anybody like myself. So the sticky stuff is MLB's steroid era for pitchers, because you've got pitchers compiling 3,000 strikeouts because they can't compile wins. I mean, it's so fucking hilarious that they tell you wins don't matter. Well, why not? Because their engineered bots can't win. They don't even pitch complete games, let alone shutouts, which Babe Ruth has some of. Like, I mean, no bleepity bleeps in the world will ever truly tell you what I think. Like, no amount of bleepity bleeps will ever truly tell you what I think. Like, that's why wins don't matter, because a Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Gerrit Cole will never amass 300 wins, right? The way Randy Johnson did. A Gerrit Cole, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer will never compile complete games. I mean, like, so the post that I saw with Scherzer, so at that point he had pitched 29.1 innings in 5 games, but The available innings is 45, and he only pitched 29 of them, 0.1. So, I mean, this is what they sell. This is what MLB sells. And that's why your ratings are in the toilet. So you can't be shocked, right, that this mediocre version of American baseball isn't well received by the American population, right? You're not shocked, right? And so given that MLB is actively working to fund itself, so they bypassed the market as of 2005, and they figured out how to fund themselves, like the digital stuff, and then now the baseball card stuff, and then obviously they've got their whole EBI DTA stuff going on too, right? So criminal accounting, and so it's the change in weather. I don't have allergies. I don't have allergies. It's just the change in weather that causes, I don't know, what is it? The body temperature to rise and fall in extreme fluctuation. So it's the adjustment period, right? The days are getting shorter, thus the weather cools down. In case you dorks who are afraid of the temperature and the weather, the season is changing, numbnuts. But okay. So obviously some Angel pitchers enjoyed the sticky stuff as well, which makes sense, right? The dudes in their organization, it makes sense that a couple of them took advantage of it. Okay, so we'll do that. Percival, I've heard that name, but I don't know enough about him to make an opinion of what kind of player he was. But I know that is a well-known name amongst Angels. The Angels side of things, right? Okay. Now we get to the good stuff. Now we get to the meat of my observation, judgment, conclusion. Harkins also claimed that MLB has evidence implicating several star pitchers, including Cole, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Felix Hernandez, Corey Kluber, Adam Wainwright, for using foreign substances to improve their grip on the ball. So Cole, Verlander, Scherzer, 3,000 strikeouts. It's engineered. Adam Wainwright, I'm not a fan of. I think all his charity work is a front for him being a super cheater. Corey Kluber, so his career took some unfortunate deviations. He was hit by a comebacker, and that sucks, man. That totally sucks. But nonetheless, now we know he's a cheater. Felix Hernandez, another MLB super narrative. And again, from a sucky team, right? Like, why does Seattle still exist? Like, I know why it exists, but I'll put it out there, right? It's there to produce mediocrity that gets sold as greatness. Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro, the dude that the MLB Marxist voted in recently. It's there to produce mediocrity that gets sold as greatness. So 3,000 strikeouts. They cannot compile wins because they can't even pitch complete games. Obviously, they're not going to compile shutouts. So they can't even compile the ERA, right? So The easiest thing for MLB pitchers to compile is strikeouts, and they mastered it. They've mastered it. Namely, Scherzer mastered it. He mastered engineering the strikeouts. That's why he reached the threshold. But he's a cheater. He's a cheater. So there will be asterisks. I will be placing asterisks on those guys, on my stuff. And we will not celebrate them at all. So that's my presentation for today. 45 minutes. I'm also feeling this right here. It's again, it's not allergies, it's just a change in weather, which I am so happy about. I love fall, winter, spring. But keep in mind, not only am I a city girl, I am a West Coast girl. So I don't know what like real snow is. And then I have this, like those of us that grew up in the generation of Jaws, that I can't remember what they call it, the weird fear of sharks in the bathwater. Like, so I have this thing with snow too, like, and I think this is from watching all those cartoons where like Bugs Bunny's walking on the snow and they fall through because the snow is like piled up 6 feet high or whatever. I'm a little scared, but so we'll see when, if we get to see snow or not. But I might wait until the weather gets better. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. This isn't me trying to target Cole and company. It's just, this is reality. This is what you guys did, right? You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. And I may be the only one calling it out, because it's going to be super interesting if MLB ever responds to these things, and then how they respond to these things, right? Because we know, well, I personally know that the law is perverted in the United States. And I know how things get sold, right? We've got outright traitors in government, but it doesn't matter because Americans don't run the government anymore. It's Jews and Marxists, and they're placing Africans, and so the law is perverted against Americans in America. The law, they've shifted the meaning of right and wrong in their favor. BLM rioters don't get jail time, but if you were at the Capitol on January 6th, they're looking for you, and Marxists help them find you. So that's what we live in today. So you need to be very careful if you're confronted with a legal situation. It's not going to go in your favor if you're an American. We need to figure that stuff out. So it's going to be very interesting if MLB ever responds to this stuff, because they're obviously going to spin it in Scherzer's favor, given that MLB is run by Jews. Scherzer's a Jew. Jews acquired him. And I've got stuff on that. And I'm going to wait till November to dive into all that. So the Hall of Fame ballots go out Thanksgiving, right? And then you guys get December, and then they're due at the beginning of January. So I'll use December for Hall of Fame. And then in November, I will dive into some of this other stuff that's on the edges of being relevant to all the MLB stuff, right? Because my focus is the intersection of American baseball and American baseball history. So I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Just do your thing, lose weight, pick up tangible skills, get some exercise in, but don't be like a gym bro tard. And I will see you guys Monday, as close to 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as possible. I will dive into the salary stuff. That could probably take the whole week. And then I will discuss my cross-check test for the Hall of Fame ballots, and then we'll kind of go from there. So thank you again. If you make it this far, I appreciate it. See you guys next week. Thank you again.